There are moments in life that don't arrive with warning signs. No dramatic music. No ominous clouds. Just a sentence, casually dropped, that detonates everything you thought was safe. It was a Sunday like any other. The kind of Sunday that feels like a warm exhale after a long week. The windows were open, the breeze was just cool enough to be perfect, and the smell of fresh coffee lingered in the air. Tessa was curled up beside me, barefoot, relaxed, scrolling her phone, occasionally chuckling at some meme she wouldn't even bother to show me. I remember thinking, God, I love this woman. She had this habit of curling her legs up like a cat, stretching her toes while she read. That little detail, so ordinary, is burned into my memory now. Because it was in that exact moment she turned to me, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "So, have you ever thought about an open relationship?" Not a trace of hesitation. Not even a smirk. Like she was asking if we should try oat milk instead of regular. For a few seconds, I thought she was joking. I even let out a weak laugh, expecting her to grin, to say she saw it in some podcast and wanted to mess with me. But she didn't laugh. She didn't even blink. Instead, she leaned in like she was revealing some great philosophical truth. I've been reading about it. People say it helps them grow. Emotionally, sexually. I just think we might be outgrowing the idea of being everything for each other. My heart was beating so hard I barely heard the rest. But she kept talking. Monogamy isn't natural, she said. We've been conditioned to think love has to be exclusive. This could strengthen our trust. She said trust, while unzipping the relationship we built, thread by thread. I didn't say anything. Not at first. I just stared at her, my mind racing. This woman, the one I've cried with, danced with, celebrated wins and nursed losses beside. The one I had planned to propose to before summer was over. The one I pictured holding our kid in a hospital room 5 years from now. She was sitting next to me, cool as glass, talking about opening the door so other people could come in. Was this curiosity, boredom, guilt? Or was this her way of telling me, without telling me, that someone else was already in the picture? That afternoon, I went into the bedroom and opened the top drawer of my nightstand. There it was. A small velvet box. I closed it, not because I changed my mind, but because she already had. And in that instant, I realized something brutal. She hadn't asked a question. She'd delivered a message. After that conversation, something inside me cracked, but not enough to break. At least, not yet. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse her of anything. Instead, I watched closely, because if someone says they want an open relationship out of nowhere, you start to wonder, is it because they want to explore, or because they already have? I began to notice the little things. The way her phone never left her side anymore, not even when she showered. The way she smiled at texts but turned her screen away. The sudden uptick in late nights at work, meetings that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. The faint, unfamiliar cologne I caught once on her scarf that definitely wasn't mine. Before, when she came home, she used to throw her bag on the floor and collapse into my arms like I was her safe place. Now, she hovered in the doorway, texting someone as she mumbled, "Hey babe," and brushed past me on her way to the bathroom. And it wasn't just her absence. It was the presence of a mask. She became extra affectionate. Random kisses on the cheek. Warm cuddles in bed. But they felt hollow, like she was trying to balance an emotional ledger. People don't usually ask for permission to cheat. They ask for forgiveness after they already have. And somewhere deep down, I think she believed she could soften the blow if she wrapped her betrayal in progressive language, in ideas of growth, freedom, emotional expansion. But I wasn't buying it. I tested her once. I casually mentioned I'd be traveling next month for work, a fake trip I made up just to see her reaction. Instead of the usual clingy "No, I'll miss you" energy, she simply shrugged and said, "That might actually be good for us. Space is healthy." Space. The last time we had space, she cried after one night apart. I started tracking our patterns. She used to FaceTime me when she got off work. Now, I had to initiate every call. Our Friday date nights became solo Netflix sessions. She bought new lingerie, but never wore it for me. It all started to feel like watching a movie in reverse. You already know the ending, but you keep watching to see where it all went wrong. And worst of all, I began to feel like a stranger in my own relationship. She still kissed me goodnight, still said "I love you." But her eyes, they told a different story. A story I hadn't been invited to be part of anymore. And in that silence, that unspoken gap between who we were and who we'd become, I finally admitted it to myself. She didn't want to grow with me. She just didn't want to feel guilty for leaving. They say the truth always comes out eventually. But when you're the one living in doubt, second-guessing your instincts, you start hoping you're wrong. That maybe you're just being paranoid. That maybe, just maybe, love hasn't left the room. It's just hiding behind a bad week. I wanted so badly to be wrong. That's why, even after the open relationship conversation, I kept showing up. I still made her coffee in the morning. Still sent her memes I thought she'd laugh at. Still asked how her day went, knowing her answers were growing more vague with every passing week. But the lie couldn't stay hidden forever. And one night, it finally slipped through the cracks. It was a Thursday. I remember because I had planned to ask her out that night, just the two of us, dinner, maybe an attempt to reconnect. She texted around 5 p.m. to say she was working late and not to wait up for dinner. Said they were closing a deal and her team was going out for drinks to celebrate. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But something felt off. And for the first time, I didn't ignore the feeling. Around 7:45, I heard her voice coming from the living room. Her phone had connected to the Bluetooth speaker automatically. She'd left it there by mistake. At first, I thought it was a voicemail, but then I realized it was a live call. She must have answered on her watch while walking to the door. And what I heard: God, I wish I was in your bed right now. You make me feel more alive than I have in years. That wasn't a work call. That wasn't space to grow. That was her talking to someone she had already chosen emotionally, physically, completely. I stood frozen, staring at the phone as her voice played on repeat, unaware she had broadcasted her secret into our home. The same home we'd built together. The same space I once thought would be where we'd start a family. I turned off the speaker. Sat down. Stared at nothing for a long, long time. There it was. Undeniable. Concrete. She wasn't asking for an open relationship. She was already in one. And she didn't have the courage to tell me, so she called it growth instead. There was no dramatic confrontation. No screaming match. No shattered wine glasses or slammed doors. Just silence. The kind of silence that wraps around your chest like a slow constriction. I sat in that silence for nearly an hour, letting the truth soak into every corner of my body. The call, her words, the lies that suddenly reframed every recent memory like puzzle pieces snapping into place. This wasn't betrayal with heat and passion. It was betrayal with calculation. With structure. She had crafted her escape route while still living in the same bed as me. Smiling. Lying. Loving someone else right under my roof. But I didn't explode. Didn't confront her when she came home hours later with alcohol on her breath and the scent of someone else's cologne stitched into her sweater. I kissed her goodnight. Held her for a moment longer than usual. Then turned over and stared at the wall, wide awake until the sun came up. That was the night I decided. If she could rehearse a new life in secret, then so could I. I wasn't going to shout. I was going to vanish, so that the emptiness I felt inside would be reflected outside too. The next day, I began the process. I gathered everything I'd bought for the proposal, the ring, the dinner reservation receipt, the little scrapbook I'd secretly started of all the places we wanted to travel to. I put them all in a box labeled someday. Then I booked a hotel. Just for a week. Just long enough to clear my head, but far enough from our apartment that she wouldn't casually stumble into me on a grocery run. At work, I requested some personal time off under the radar. I told a few trusted colleagues that I might be hard to reach for a few days. No explanations. Just distance. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I started backing up my personal files from our shared devices. Changed passwords. Removed my name from upcoming plans. Quietly folded my part of our life together like a letter I would never send. I even left a note on the coffee table. Simple. Direct. You wanted freedom. I decided to give it to both of us. Don't contact me. No signature. No drama. Because what she never realized is that when someone truly loves you, not out of convenience, but out of choice, the worst thing they can do is walk away without making a sound. And I was about to become that silence. It took her 3 days to realize I was gone. 3 full days. 72 hours of unanswered texts, unopened DMs, and the growing panic that bloomed only when she understood. I hadn't ghosted her. I had let her go. On the 4th day, she showed up at my workplace. I wasn't there. She called my friends. They didn't answer. She even tried my mother, a woman she once adored, and got nothing but cold silence in return. I didn't block her. Not at first. I wanted her to sit with the weight of the silence, to let her feel the absence the same way I'd been feeling it in her presence for weeks, for months. When the texts finally came, they were frantic. Please talk to me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought you'd understand. It didn't mean anything. You said you loved me. Each one more desperate than the last. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty, but because I knew any response would only keep the wound open. And I was done bleeding. Then came the voicemails. Crying. Apologizing. Saying she didn't expect me to actually leave. That it was just an idea. That I should have fought for us. But that's the thing. I had fought for us. For months. When she pulled away, I leaned in. When she changed, I adapted. When she spoke of growth, I listened, even as the ground was crumbling beneath me. And in return, she offered me shared affection, divided loyalty, and borrowed time. In the following weeks, I moved into a new apartment. Smaller, quieter. But it was mine. I deleted the photos. Canceled the joint subscriptions. Changed my emergency contact. It's strange, the little things that make you realize you're rebuilding. The first grocery run where you don't buy her favorite cereal. The first night you sleep through without dreaming of her. The first laugh that feels real again. Eventually, I blocked her. Not because I hated her. But because I finally understood. Closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you claim for yourself. She wanted an open door. So I walked through it. And then I closed it behind me.